Welcome to another segment of Power Play Garage. Yay! On the Dodge 5-window coupe, 1933. I figured I had to start off like that because I wanted to wear my name of my shop, my business, which is Radical Curves Customs. Yeah, I just figured that. But, anywho, have a little progress this morning. I got certain things straightened out that needed to be straightened out with the parts houses, and it's a good thing a few days went by because my Friday later part of the afternoon conversation with Advance, it's a good thing I was on my way to meet up with folks on Saturday. I would have done a U-turn and I would have went back there and I definitely would have had my way of clearing the air, and that's about as far as I want to take that. But progress has been made. We're still trying to figure out the correct size of the flat serpentine belt. The V-belts worked out really well. A little bit adjustment on the pulleys so everything clears with the other belts coming by, and I'll show you. And I used one of my parts for the 57 just as a little mock-up to make sure clearances stay there. So let me give you that, and then we're going to move on to the next thing and get her going. Okay, well, as you can see, both V-belts are in, they're tight, and the serpentine one is still too big. So they got another one ordered for me. We're guesstimating 2 inches shorter, hopefully. And we're going to go from there, and hopefully that'll work because, the adjustment right there, the automatic adjuster, has room to go in. So I'm sure we'll get the right size to make it all work, and then once all this is buttoned up and I have some loom running and things dressed the way they should be and everything is done here in the front, then I'll be able to put the front grill on, the radiator, and so forth and move forward. So now it leads me now to, I'm about to install the ignition switch, which should have been done Friday. I decided to put it on the left side of the steering column because 2 reasons. One, there's a lot of freedom here in the back, which there is not that kind of freedom over on this side. And the second reason is the wires are at a good length to put them there versus putting them over here. So I got the drills ready. I'm going to drill nice clean holes, center it where I feel comfortable with it there, and get it to where I can actually, mount it once the wires are hooked up and go from there. So the object today is to get the steering column set up with the wiring, the ignition right, and let's see what happens from there, and maybe with a little help, maybe I can get the AC component in. Yeah, that's what I'd like to have done. Moving along, I'm going to do my best to have this thing done and ready for her first show that she's booked for to show the car. The great thing is you don't have to do nothing to the interior other than clean it up and reinstall it. So let me get to work, and once I've gotten some progress done here, I'll definitely chime in, so stand by. I'm back, and a lot more was done. And I even had help from the client, which was nice, and we had to run some errands for the car. We had to get a belt situation taken care of, and we still got to take care of one more out of the 3. And hopefully tomorrow the right size will be here, and that is for the supercharger. So the serpentine belt, we're hoping, will be the right one this time. And in the meantime, we got a few things done, and let me show you. Alright, so I wanted to make sure that I had to do a little adjusting again on this pulley. No big deal. I had to make sure that the belt wasn't running too close to this one now, side by side, and now we're golden. So that there's taken care of. The belt is on, the other one, and I actually got the steering column in, completely in. It's bolted in. The protecting tape is off. I ran the wire for the electric fan. It's not permanent, but at least it's in there. and it will get tied in. So not only is this bolted in, I've got the levers in, the blinker switch. I'm not going to be able to put the steering wheel on until other things are in, like the air conditioning unit. The ignition switch is in. It is wired up. Watch that dash light up. Look at that. Listen to it crank. Okay, here we go. And then even the accessory is on. See? Keys the other way. Straight. Keys off. And so is the rest of it. So I got all that taken care of. The client worked on that end of the cabin with the wiring. And now we definitely have to extend this wiring for the electric fan to make it over here. So we took care of stuff like that. And what else was there? Let's see. Oh, I did add a couple more bolts to that because I only put a couple in to get it lined up. So I had to add 4 more, put them in. So that's taken care of. I did readjust the timing. I pulled out the number 1 spark plug, turned it over, and then I knew it was top dead center. I reset the distributor. It was just a little bit off. A couple of teeth, no big deal, but pop that out. I put it back in after setting it. And then once I actually have the belt, then I should be able to actually fire it up briefly to make sure it fires and make sure all that's working. And then there was something else that we did. I can't really recall. Well, we did a lot of tracing. You know, I needed to know what wires were which over here that ran into the cabin. And like the upper starter wire to the solenoid runs to the fuse box, which then runs over to the neutral safety switch that's over there on the shift lever at the other side. And then I knew it fed back, so I got that taken care of, stuff like that. I don't know, I'm having a hard time thinking of all the stuff we're able to accomplish. Mostly it was running around, and especially to get the universal joint for the steering. Yeah, that place is way out there in Riviera Beach. So we have the right one coming on Wednesday, and then we should be golden. We should be able to hook up this, the rest of the steering shaft. Because this end here, which goes into the steering box, the diameter was too small. We ordered another one, but the spline count was too, there wasn't enough splines or whatever, I don't know, but we ended up ordering the right one, and Puss in Boots is here to get my pet and my approval, and she gave me an approval. Yeah, maybe she wants to get fed. Who knows? But we are moving along, so until tomorrow, hang tight and have a good night. It's the next day, as in Tuesday, and I've been moving along on this coupe. I made some headway. Let me show you what I've done. Show you that I just got done placing. I took some rubber seal that came with the body, and I made it fit on top of that port, where this will go on top of it. It gets placed in there like that. I don't want to put it in there. I've done it a couple of times because I want to make sure that the bolts that I'm going to use in here to bolt it down from inside under the dash, it's easier for you to make sure that all is well. So I'm going to leave that out for the moment. And then I did take the belt back first. And this belt fits, but it just goes on. And there's no tension against the belt tensioner. So they're giving me another one, bringing another one somewhere around 12:30. So that should work out well. The next thing I've done, I've extended the wiring harness for the antenna switch, which is up here. It fills in that hole. I'm going to have the client buy just your average switch. This is a little funky one because the little plastic thread-on thing, cap part, has a crack in it, so it won't tighten. So I'm going to have her take this with her, go to the auto parts store, and see, they're all the same. So we should be able to match up with a metal one to where I can go in there and secure it better than not securing it with a cracked type nut. So I got that up in there and done. Once I'm done bolting up that vent, I'm going to mount the speaker back where it belongs, and I believe at that point we should be okay. And I know we're going to be changing the speaker, so when the client gets here, I'm going to have her do that. She wants to do that, so we get that done. And once that's done, then we're going to put the AC unit fixture in and hope for the best. But there's my ignition switch. I love it. And I'm hoping that when I get that belt today, it'll be the right size, hopefully, finally, and that I'll be able to actually fire it up. I should be able to. I can't fire it up now without the supercharger hooked up, but nevertheless, that's the story on that. And so the next movement, stand by. It's the next day, and we made some headway yesterday. Help from the client. She's on her way over here now, going to give me some more help, and I even believe tomorrow. So the more help, the better, because most times it's just pretty much, hey, move this over, do stuff, simple things, nothing that's crazy or out of her comfort zone. So with all that being said, I'm going to try to remember and point out all the things that we got to actually finish up yesterday. Up inside, underneath the dash, I had to trace some of the wires. It's got a real nice system in there. To me, it appears like it's a Ron Francis design. They're one of the best. That's my opinion, and I think quite a few other fellows out there will agree with that concept. And we also got, well, it's kind of hard to tell, but we also got the new speakers mounted. She wanted in there, up inside there. And I got to fiddle around more with the linkage for the transmission, and I might even have to fiddle around with it a little bit more. But also routing some more of the wiring and having the headlights, the new headlights, which have the blinkers in there, basically getting that worked out, all that kind of stuff. So we are moving along. We actually finally got the right size belt for the serpentine belt, so that works out really nice. I'm really excited about that. One part we're waiting for on the pump, and it's from Holly. She said that's back order, but I believe the date wasn't too far off or anything. At least I hope not. And I did try to fire it up yesterday, and I'll be having a little bit more help later on to get it to figure out, well, I already know what's happening. The inhibitor is not receiving the 12 volts as it's cranking. It receives it when you turn on the key, but we had to go with an aftermarket ignition switch because of the prior situation. But nevertheless, we will be moving on that, and I really don't want it to run right off the bat as far as letting it run and idle, because there's no fluid in the power steering pump, number one. Number two, and there's no coolant. Actually, there is coolant inside the block, but I just don't want it to run more than maybe 5 seconds, because there is no oil in the power steering pump, and I don't want to put any in there yet until the lines are hooked up. The steering shaft universal is supposed to be in today. It will be the correct spline for this. That was the issue, getting hooked up with the right spline count and so forth. And then we should be able to mount the rest of that in there, get that out of the way. And once that's in, then we're going to move on to the Hydro Boost. And Puss in Boots is agreeing, her tail's up. She's saying get to work. It is that time. I don't want to have to tell you again. So until the next move, stand by. Right, Puss in Boots? Well, I'm back. We got a lot done, but some of it took a bit. Actually, now as you can see, the handle's on there, and what we're trying to set up now is a latch off the rear deck here to connect to this. So I started making a plate that would screw to this, and we got to improve on it. I don't want to waste a lot of time on it. Not that it's a waste of time, but I'm just trying to get things moving along as to where she can safely drive the car to an event and then bring it back for the small stuff to get finished up. So we started putting back all the lining stuff back into the trunk. As you can see that there. I didn't want to put the side pieces in yet because I have to get in the trunk in order to see where this all falls into place. So I took care of that. We actually, with the help of a friend, got the wire figured out on the external ignition inside there. So now it is in place, mounted. That switch for the antenna is now permanently mounted. We got the rug in here, and the yellow tape indicates where the seat belts are going to go. So that's going to be next. Nothing more really out here that was done, only because we wanted to get it to fire up, and it did get fire up. We had to make a call to the company where we got the transmission, and we found out that this cable, the actual jacket of the cable, is adjustable. So now we'll have the room we need in order to put the brackets that come in the box onto this carburetor to make this work. So looking forward to doing that, getting that done and out of the way. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have the universal joint for this. It was supposed to be in today, but the guy said the other fellow didn't read an email, somebody got sick or something, not sure. But hopefully tomorrow we'll have it and be able to move on. Once again, being interrupted by a phone call, but I will get back. Absolutely. So this actually is going to end this video because today it's Wednesday evening, and tomorrow morning I got to post the video on this. So hopefully by, well, a couple more days we'll have a lot more done, and to where I feel more secure about it being finished in time for her to be able to pick it up on the 6th of November, because her show is 7th, 8th, and the 9th. That's the objective. I'm trying to really hard to move things along. She's been a great help. I do appreciate it. It's easy to work with versus somebody who says they know what they're doing and doesn't. I just point and say, we got to do this, got to do that. So she's a real good helper. So nevertheless, I do appreciate people watching. If you could subscribe, I'd like that too. Give me a thumbs up. You can make a comment. And in the meantime, try to get something done.